Wow, I am so thrilled to bring my lovely friend, Dr. Alex Ling, back today to share with everyone some profound developments that have been happening with Alex and his studies with water. And he's been doing a lot of research in many different places. If you've been following his photos, he's been trekking all over the place. And I'm so thrilled to have you here to share with us such exciting revelations, really, aren't they, about what is happening now with the water and how much this is going to impact humanity and Mother Earth. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking. So great to see you.
Hi, Medine, and it's so good to see you and to talk to you again. So thank you for having me. It's amazing. Yes, and so much happened over the last, especially over the last 7 weeks. I've been traveling through Mexico and visiting all different water sources. It's just mind blowing, really incredible.
It feels a while, yes, since we chatted last. That's right. So I'm really thrilled to hear what you have to share. But I guess the question is, where do we start?
That's a good question. We have been doing so much work with the ancient pyramids here as well because we had so much information from tunnel systems going underneath the pyramids, and they have springs underneath flowing water, or used to have flowing water, living water running through the passage of the pyramids, which have been drying up mainly. So we have been in Teotihuacan, and we have been visiting so many different ancient sites, plus some newly discovered pyramids which used to have water running through as well. And of course, in one of my other visits to Mexico, we have collected water from different springs representing the earth and the sky, and bringing it back to the newly discovered pyramids and introducing the water into the pyramids. And then we enticed or literally asked the water to rise up to the level again so that the spring was active again. And that's exactly what happened. So there is so much information and so much research we have done over the last 7 weeks, especially. And my relationship with water has really profoundly changed quite a lot. So it's much more intense and much more kind of detailed, and the water is willing now to really speak up about the problems we had.
So is the rooster behind you. He's speaking up as well.
Yes, exactly. So yes, the rooster is very active at the minute, so it's giving a lot of information, so it's calling on. But yes, so I apologize.
No, I love it.
I
It's
think it's a
great.
name.
He's agreeing with you.
But I know. We were here actually in Bacalar, and Bacalar is there's a beautiful lagoon, and I wanted to come here for a long time to take the blueprints, to collect the blueprints of the water, and it just didn't happen until now. So I extended my travels, and just to do that basically, because the water is just magical. I've just been there about an hour ago to have a swim in the lagoon.
That one
And
there?
yes, that's the lagoon. I mean, the waters are just, it's just incredible. The
So
temperature
clear.
of the water, everything. It's just perfect. But mainly why I'm here is because these pristine waters hold certain healing properties as well. So it's a combination of the water itself, but also the lagoon, of course, is a very old lagoon, and there are microbes in there which are 3.5 billion years old. And this particular ancient water blueprint is of great interest to me for introducing these blueprints to other blueprints from different water sources which are in need of help. So let me just explain for the people who don't know really what I'm doing. is that we go around to all the different water sources, mainly lagoons or ancient waters, which are, at the minute, we're just concentrating on Mexico. So we taking water samples, and in these water samples is a lot of information. So we extracting it by fast freezing the water samples in a petri dish. And we have a specific way of highlighting the coloration in the ice, which is a giveaway for the frequencies and for the well-being of the water. So we found a way of translating these colorations, and also in the future, we're working on a specific sound which goes with all the frequencies. But for now, it's the image which is giving all this information. So the image is literally the blueprint of the water. And we take not just one sample, we take numerous samples from the same water source to be absolutely sure that we're getting the same outcome every single time. So there are slight differences depending on if it had rained or didn't rain, or if it is full moon, or whatever changes in the ecosystem of each water source. So, but the main blueprint is pretty stable. So we can really say that there is one specific blueprint for each water. So in this blueprint then is also the information of the creation as well. So because all waters are connected to the cosmic oceans, of course.
So it's like human DNA. It has its own like a
Yes.
DNA footprint. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So for us, it's really important, and especially for my research, is that I see the well-being of the water. So some of the water sources are polluted, unfortunately, and we are working on a way how we can use the healing waters to actually heal the other waters, because water does communicate with each other, and we have seen that very, very clearly in our research. So where we introduced waters next to each other in a petri dish, for example, where one water was quite distorted or not as colorful as other blueprints, and you can see that very clearly. I think you have one slide there from Lake Chapala in Mexico.
Yes, I'll just find that slide now.
Yes, it's the one which has a lot of gray in it.
Other way, I think.
The other side, yeah.
That one there. Yes.
So that's very telling, because you can see there's barely any coloration in there. And the only other time when I see these kind of gray colorations is if you put water into a microwave. So
wow, that's sad, isn't it? Because it's really reflecting how damaged it's been in this coloration.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have seen this over and over in water sources which have been polluted. And it's quite sad, because if you see how well other waters look compared to this, then it's a huge, huge difference. So what we asked for one of the intact waters to take care of that water and to heal the water. So what I asked the water first is to basically prepare itself to reprogram. And the next slide, the blank slide.
Oh, that one there?
That one. So that was quite a surprise, because that just happened a few days ago, where the water, which was healing water, suddenly decided that it shows like a blank canvas. And I was really surprised, and I thought, wow, why is it showing a blank canvas? And we did it again and again, and it always happens the same time. As soon as I asked the question, can you repair the water which is next to you, because we put the two petri dishes next to each other, it went blank and all the colors disappeared. And so I thought, wow.
Just to recap for the people listening, what the water's doing is it's giving itself back to like a zero quantum field of clearness, so that it's ready to take on a new blueprint.
Exactly. And not only that, it kind of fixed the blueprint from the other water. So the next image to the right is after it fixed itself. Now see all
Wow.
the coloration, I know, and that's incredible. And so these are the two that they were just literally, I think, about 30 seconds in between the two slides, these two photographs. And it was something I never ever seen that before. So it's quite incredible. And some, I pointed out to you earlier that some of the pattern, like the big
Yeah.
yellow bluish area
Section
there on the
here.
top, yes, you
Yes.
can see that on the gray one, which is next to it. If you go
Is
back to
that
that one,
pattern
yes,
here?
exactly. You can see it's the same blueprint, but
Yes.
it completely transformed it into a beautiful coloration.
That
And
one.
so it fixed it. So, I
Wow.
mean, that is just something where I thought, wow, now we're starting to get the proof how actually the water can fix other waters, right? So the waters which are compromised from any kind of pollution, or just sometimes waters are stressed because some towns are very close by and there's music playing, and I'm not talking from nice music. There's a lot of kind of aggressive
Sounds like
music
my
and
neighbors
like,
here.
yes,
They
yes,
play that
and
rap,
it,
and they play it all night. It's like, oh.
and so that you can see that because we have taken water samples from areas which are quite busy and there's a lot of noise pollution, and these kind of areas have completely different blueprints as the ones, when you go into more quiet area which is not polluted from the noise. So,
Sure.
and light pollution as well, it has an impact as well. So everything really has a fundamental impact on water. So, which really should make us aware as humans as well. When we drink water, where is the water coming from? So is it like the water which you buy from the supermarket, which has been stored like in a warehouse, right?
Mm.
And being
And in
manufactured in some,
plastic bottles,
yes,
holding it, that energy going into it.
exactly. So, it's quite incredible how sensitive water really is, and it takes on all the information around it. It's like it has consciousness, of
Oh,
course, as
yeah.
well, and it's very emotional in a way that as soon as I saw Lake Chapala, I was getting really emotional because it was just so sad to see all the plastic, all the rubbish. There's like an oil film on top of the water in some areas. It's
Oh,
just really, really sad. And they have a lot of problems with the fish, which are still some fish in there, but you
mm.
can't eat the fish because the fish is diseased because the waters are so polluted.
And you,
And
and you would feel the emotion of the water too, because it
yeah,
would be sad, and you'd be
yeah,
not only seeing it, but you'd be feeling that as well
yeah,
in terms of
yes,
the emotion coming
absolutely.
from it. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And so when we worked with the lake, it was really so incredible. So we went to an island which was in the middle of Lake Chapala, and this island also had quite a dark history in terms of the Spanish, unfortunately, who slaughtered a lot of the indigenous people.
Mm.
And so we took some samples from the tree, which has quite an important place on the island because the indigenous people used to go there, and it was like a wishing tree in a way. So where people would gather and they would spend time with the tree. It was like the mother tree of the island. And so I took some water from this tree, and something really quite incredible happened. Um, Instead of having just one image, I extracted different waters from the tree because it was captured rainwater, literally, which was inside, some of the areas of the tree, which acted like
A plate,
like a,
a
yes,
bowl.
like
Yeah.
exactly like a bowl. I was catching the rainwater. So I extracted with a syringe, all these different waters. So we had about 6, 7 different samples. The most amazing thing happened is that in all the samples which we then froze and extracted the blueprint, it told us the same story. And that was really incredible because I thought, oh, they're all going to be different, but it wasn't. They were all the same. And in the sequence, I collected the water, the story was unfolding. And this is the blueprint from this ancient tree. This is not the story which we unfolded. It's actually a different tree, which
Oh,
is the
sorry.
second.
I thought it was
That's okay. That's a different tree, but this one was also, and if you go back to that, I explained it very quickly.
Sure.
Yes, I will extract it from a different source. So this is the second oldest tree in Mexico.
Yeah.
And what happened there is that, I'm sorry, I'm just getting this. Yeah, I can't find it at the minute, so that's a shame. So what happened is that with this tree, you can see like there is like a tree stump in the middle, which is highlighted between all the beautiful colors around it. So on the next slide, so this is the physical form of the tree.
Yeah.
And on the next slide right to on the right side to it. So on the next slide, we have a different way of analyzing the slide, the photography of the slide, and of the ice, and that shows literally the energy, like the Carrion photography, or shows like the soul of the tree, right? And that's amazing. So when we started to get these kind of images, we started to go deeper into the story of each water or each subject, because sometimes we take just like the blueprints of a palm tree, or by using some bark, and we introduce it into the water, and then we get like a whole story of the tree. So there is just so many things which we did on this trip. But coming back to healing the water.
Can I just interrupt and say, you said earlier too, when we were chatting, that this, in the center of this, you can see the actual image of the trunk of the tree.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So it actually holds the image of what we're talking about. And then in the center here again is the central image of the tree again.
Yeah, exactly. So I sent you just something quickly, and I hope that it will come to you. Just 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, that's part of the story. I should have sent you that earlier, but I forgotten, to be honest.
There's so much to cover.
Yes. So this image which you see next, which I just sent you.
It's up now. It's up on the screen.
I can't see it yet.
Oh, okay. I'll just bring it up on the screen. Here it is. There. Colors are beautiful. So pretty.
Yes. No. In the middle of this slide, you can, if you pull it up a little bit. Okay. You can see that there are two figures. And on my slides, it looks a lot sharper than it is here. So the resolution is not as great here. But there are two figures which emerged in the center. And one has a red dress on, and the other one has a blue dress on. You can see that, yeah?
Yes.
So, and these two figures appeared on each of the different slides from the different water samples. I mean, that is just incredible. And it told literally, this is not the whole slides, but it was in the center, and it looks like that these two figures are standing in some water, like the lagoon or in the ocean or wherever it is. But they also were looking at something which is coming from the left side.
This side, yes. This way.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the next slides, which you don't have, but I explain it, what happened is that it looked almost like that the whole scenario, the whole surrounding changed into an ice age. So there was a lot of light colors like ice forming around them. And then suddenly in the sky, there was something which looked almost like auroras. So when that happens, the whole surrounding changed and the two figures merged into one. And instead of having two figures, which one has a blue dress, the other one has a red dress, there was only one which was wearing a purple dress, which was really, really incredible. So
Wow.
it's, I know, and then it went back into a different story, not a different story, but the same story, starting from the beginning and setting the two people in the same position again. I'm not sure what it means, but it's a native guy here said, "Oh, that has to do with the red and the blue kachina. This is a prophecy." And I thought, "Oh, wow," So I didn't look at it that way. And he said that that's a return, that's the prophecy we're talking about, and this has to do with everything is changing at the minute. So and we're going into the new earth and all these kind of things.
That's
So
mind-blowing. So the water itself is telling you a story as you
yes,
get it. And
yeah,
oh, wow. Mm.
yeah. So these kind of stories seem to unfold more and more. The more slides we're taking, the more water samples I'm collecting from
Mm.
us, it's getting much more detailed. And so in this process, I thought we need to find a way of collecting
Oh, sorry.
many. We need to find a way. It's okay. We need to find a way of collecting data from around the world and trying to set up something that we can connect and collect all the different waters to each other again, because we have been talking to a lot of indigenous groups here, indigenous people, and we all came to the conclusion that this kind of blueprints can help for the water to reconnect to each other. And
And
once
come to its most pristine form.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
And
perfect.
and that is what they call the indigenous people call it like the song of water, and that's why we are really working very hard to get all the blueprints from different sources and learn so much about it as possible. And now that the water is kind of opening up and telling us a whole story, I think we have now the technical tools as well, because we have extended our research quite enormously, really, using different technology to make it happen. And what we can do now is we can create a database from other people, from people who are willing to collect the water from different sources. So that's something which I discussed with you earlier. So we're going to have water ambassadors and around the world. So we're creating a network, and this network is also telling each individual person who's sending off these water samples to us, is telling them what kind of blueprint is in the water. And if they want to be like a water ambassador, then we will talk about this in detail. So there's something coming up on the website very soon, and we're going to join forces to make it happen.
Oh, that
But
would be amazing. And I love to cover the area of, Australia and around this region. And
exactly,
another fascinating thing is I've been guided to become mobile. So I'm going to
yeah,
have to be portable. I can move to different water sources and do things as
exactly,
well, because I'm on
yeah.
wheels now with a mobile home. So that's good.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I think the aim is to create a global network where we have the database of all the different blueprints of the water.
Yep.
And the aim also is to protect the water through a strong community which is connected over a global network. So that if there is any outlets of raw sewage or any chemicals or any problems with any waters around the globe, then we as a big community can pressurize the governments, of these particular areas to make a change, because there are a lot of good communities to try and protect the water. But unfortunately, these communities are usually quite small, and they don't have such big impact unless it's a big story and on the news, and nobody's really listening. But to protect our waters and to make a real change, I think we need to form this network so that we can all work together as a huge community to make a real change. And
I'm
we have
excited.
seen,
What an honor to do that work. I'm so excited to hear what you're doing. This is so sorely needed around the planet. It's
yeah.
brilliant.
And it is time, because we know that water is speaking to us. This whole year is about water,
Mm.
and it's on us now either to listen and to really have a good future on this planet, or we're ignoring it and we're losing one of the most valuable water sources around the planet, and they will be lost forever. So I think it's really time to get together as humans. We have really a duty as well to protect this planet, and especially protect the water. So why not make it happen now, and build this kind of network, so that we have a fantastic tool on our fingertips, and that we actually can do something actively against the main water polluters, and even the little ones, because I just learned that where my horses have been kept, or still are, in Cornwall in the UK. So we had some raw sewage being pumped into the river system. So we had to stop our horses from drinking from the river for a few days. But we learned that this is an ongoing problem, actually, that whenever the rain is coming and going into the rivers, they're using that momentum to just let the raw sewage into the water as well, because they get away with it. So, and it's these kind of little projects, which we need to tackle as much as the big ones, because all waters count, right? So all waters need to be protected the same way.
I've heard,
And
yes, I've
yeah,
heard that in India, the Ganges, because they are very spiritual there, and they're often blessing the water there, that even though it's got a lot of sewage and pollution and things like that, it's actually at a pretty good level in terms of its
yeah,
how healthy it is, because it is blessed so much. They do so
yeah.
much prayer over it.
Yes. Exactly, and that's again something we want to establish. We want to use that network as well for people actively to work with their waters. And also, you can go and there will be all the guidelines will be on site, and we will also run some workshops for people who want to learn how to do this.
Yes, we'll
Um,
hear those.
and
We've
we
got another one
really,
coming, I think, too, don't we, soon? Maybe. It's just
yes.
it's just a matter of pinning you down, but I don't want to put extra pressure because you're doing such important work. But just when it flows, pardon the pun, we'll do the next
Yes.
workshop. Yeah, yeah.
No, it's important to spread this information, because everybody needs to be taking part in it, and it's something also which you can do to with your family, with your children. So I think it's time also to turn the whole negativity into some real good positive projects. And many
Yes.
people say, "Oh, it's too late," and it's not too
Well, what
late.
can I
It's
do
not too
to
late
help?
at all.
People asking, oh, I don't know what I can do to make a difference. Things like this,
Yeah,
you couldn't be doing more powerful work. And I will say too, in parallel, Alex, that on coming up in a few days, I'm supporting a beautiful lady, Liv Wheeler, who's running a fairy workshop. Now, in this fairy workshop, I'm doing a presentation where we are going to be singing to amethyst crystals, and then putting the energy of the crystal into the earth. So you're singing into the song lines, which is an Aboriginal concept, although I don't like the word Aboriginal because ab is a negation. So original people singing into the song lines, and then putting that energy back into the grids, into the land. So that is something that is in need of as well from people, just to
yeah,
sing into the earth and put your beautiful energy and raise the frequency. And then if we do it with water, I think it has an even greater impact, because we're made
yeah.
up of water, and water is, so it's everywhere, and it's so important.
Water is creation,
Mm.
and we need to be aware that we only have a certain amount of living water on this planet. Well, access to it, let's say. because there's a lot of lies which been told, about living water. There's a lot of living water still around, but we need to find the sources and we need to protect those sources. Because many of the companies like Nestle and Coca-Cola and all these kind of, people who are using these waters to create their products, right? And in some parts here in Mexico, I have to say, sadly, there's more use of Coca-Cola than water. Even very young children are being fed Coca-Cola, which is really incredible. I mean, it's heartbreaking to see that, because the effects of Coca-Cola in later years, so you destroy completely your gut wall, and it's a lot of damage done that way, so in your system, because it's not just the sugar which is creating diabetes and all these kind of things, but also the chemicals which are in Coca-Cola are really, really bad for our system, for our bodies. But
I will say too, if you read the Rockefeller Creed, it talks about, this strategy of poisoning humanity. So, all that was part of the overall strategy to depopulate and to poison.
Yeah.
And I think people need to read that creed, because it really points out their intention is, with these drinks and everything in the foods and the processed foods and the chemtrails. And I say to the other day, Alex, I had a sneezing fit, like the worst sneezing fit I've ever had. And then I looked out with my partner, and there was all these lines in the sky. And then I shut all the doors and windows in the house, and I stopped sneezing. And then I went outside later at night, for a walk later, because I thought it might have dissipated by then with my dog, my partner. And I started to walk, and then I started sneezing again. So, it's all this sort of stuff that's going on as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, these kind of aerial pollution, which they're creating is a big problem, because, it's not just we inhaling it, it's going into the soil, it's going into our water system, and it's not right, so this shouldn't happen. But we all know why it's done. It's the same reason why King Solomon, for example, forbidden people to drink from the living water sources from the springs, and he ordered to the times of King Solomon and even older, to the Canaanites. And in these texts, people are being forced, literally, to drink only water from the cistern. So the cisterns who would hold the water in dark spaces, and it was dead water. There was no flow, there was no daylight.
Because they know it's programming the people and it's impacting them at a cellular level, and that's why they do it that way. Oh, that's awful.
Absolutely. It also where your abilities to connect to all the tools we have naturally as humans, right? We had so many more gifts, if you like. Our senses elevated than today, and we had a lot more senses, which naturally were with us, from the day of the birth. So, and in this kind of way, if you compromise the water, then you compromise everything to do with not just your physical body, but also your spiritual body. It has a huge impact on our pineal gland,
That reminds me of I have to edit that bit. That reminds me of the things that go on the arm.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they disconnect you from the divine essence, from your divine connection, which is what
Exactly.
they were doing with the water back then, by the sound of it, when they're putting that dark energy and they could only drink from the cisterns. Same sort of concept, but they're just doing it in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. And this is going on for thousands of years, and So yeah, and it's still going on. I mean, we made to believe that we can't have access to fresh drinking water. So that's why our tap water has been recycled in many areas 4 or 5 times, right? And you know, if you look at the other side, or the other half of, not half, the 10% of the population who can afford it, what kind of waters they are drinking. They're not drinking or using the tap water, so no way. So they are using pristine water, living water, which they're importing very often from places like the Antarctic or whatever. So, and these water sources are very expensive. But they are willing to pay, like $700 or whatever per liter of water. So and I think it's starting from around $150 or something per bottle of water for this pristine living water. So, but they know they shouldn't drink this kind of stuff. They know they should only have bottled water, which is in glass and not plastic. I mean, there's just a whole difference here. Yeah. So
that reminds me of Bill Gates. He didn't allow his kids to use his products. The McDonald's founder didn't allow his kids or family to eat their products. They create these things for the millions, and then they don't let themselves touch them because they know that they're so bad for them. I've just got to let my dog out. Hold on, Alex.
Well, Sasha's dog, who was almost here joining me today, he's gone out for a walk now or something. But he is very cute.
Gorgeous.
Little Chihuahua. And,
he sounds like a real character.
No,
real personality.
Yes, I have to say thank you to Sasha as well, because it's great to be in this space, and so I needed a place also to do a podcast, so it came quite handy at this point.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you, Sasha. Appreciate it.
So, but it's quite incredible how much data we have collected, and how much information the water is also willing to give away. So in the beginning, it was a little bit like we didn't get as much information. It was pretty images, but there wasn't much of a story to each blueprint. Now the water really starts to share the information and to share the stories which are connected to each of the blueprints. And it's just made a huge difference in terms of knowledge. There's one image which I've sent you as well, and that has been taken from Linda Vista, which is the ancient seabed in the zone of silence. The place where I went with Sasha Stone to record the eclipse in April. And so we used the sand, and we extracted from the sand, using some pristine water, we extracted the blueprint of that sand. And that sand is ocean sand, which still has the whole information, bears information from the ancient seabed.
Is it one
and it's the one which has a structure inside.
Is that
I think it's more to the right. I think it's more to the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a bit more. Getting there almost. No, one more. That's the one.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So this was the first image, which was really telling us a huge story. And the area is quite interesting because it has a lot of, besides the dunes and the sand, which is phenomenal. It looks really beautiful in the whole area. But there are also some rocks and some mountain parts. And inside these mountains, there is a lot of evidence of the old culture of the indigenous tribes, which were the Eretillas, and now they're like the Laguneros. So they're still, the descendants of these kind of tribes are still alive. And so we took one of the indigenous people with us when we collected the sample of the sand. We also stayed over in the dunes for 2 days. And this area is known to be a huge UFO hotspot. And since since the eclipse, they had literally a sighting every single night in the area. So, and we witnessed that too. So when we started to go into the area of the desert, the lady who runs the cafe at Linda Vista, she said, there's a portal opening and you're going right into the portal if you're leaving now. So we left with the truck, we took the truck, the pickup, and we drove into the desert. And the sky was literally splitting into half. And there was a huge thunderstorm and lightning over the mountain where where the portal was opening. So that was around the same time, but this different area. Wow. So we don't have, unfortunately, a slide here which shows the portal opening. We have it on our in our files, but I haven't shared it with you.
Sure.
But it was absolutely incredible how that everything was changing. So the whole atmosphere of the whole desert was changing. So we drove right into the lightning storm where the portal was opening. And then there was, as I said, there was this split between, there were like two different realities. And so one side was a blue sky and the other one was completely like a different reality. So when we drove into the desert, we had incredible sightings that night. It was something I never experienced. There were some orbs, some lights, and I thought first, coming from my logical mind, there's some people in the middle of the desert coming towards us with some big torches. That's what it looked like. Yeah. But there weren't people, right? They were like something, I'm not sure what it was, but something was moving towards us. And two of the AQUAN explorers who came with me in the team, so they walked towards them and they took footage of these lights coming towards them.
And is it that first contact with the galactics even? You know how they're starting to make themselves more and more known?
Yes, I think there was definitely a contact going on.
Yes.
I, however, I felt like I was on the back of the pickup truck, which I put like a blow-up mattress on there because I wanted not to stay in a tent. I wanted to see the sky. And so I lied down, and I usually would have never done that because I was so excited to see the lights and I wanted to investigate. But it was like someone turned a switch and I was completely out for the count, and I fallen asleep. And then I got this incredible download while I was sleeping about the blueprints and what the reason for the blueprints are. And I thought, wow, this is completely different. So since that day, everything completely changed. The whole relationship with the water changed. The information is just like something fundamental has been put into my a part of this, which is a part of my knowledge now, and I don't know even exactly what it is, but something, the frequency has changed. So when I'm working with water, there's this emotional tie to it. Yes. And it's almost like I can read the frequency of the water. And I'm sure there are other people who can do the same, especially the indigenous people. But for me, it was a new experience. So I could feel all the emotions of the water and the suffering of the water and all these kind of things, which I knew in my logical mind that it's there, but I could never deeply feel it, right? But now it's like it's absorbed into my emotional body, and so I can connect to it. So
because water is an emotion, it is, that's what it is. It's connected to
absolutely
the body, and it's interesting because maybe what that connection of the orbs was, they were coming to you to activate your DNA and open up your abilities and to perhaps download some information to you to support your mission. It sounds like maybe that's what it was.
Yes. It might as well be. So I'm just now seeing myself, I always saw myself just as a tool, right? It's not about me as a person. This is about just following the flow of water and being of service. So I just want to be of service to the water, and I want to be sure that I can do as much as possible, whatever it is, I'm trying to do that. Because I think it's so important that we listen to the water and we clean up our act and help the water to heal again. Because it's also the future of humanity on this planet, right? So if you don't do this now, then God knows what's going to happen. I mean, I'm not a doomsday person or something, but I think this is really time that we are listening and we returning to this connection we have with water, for sure. So,
yes, so true. And I hope people that are listening, please share this video, because the message in it is so timely and so essential that we all need to contribute as much as we can in this collectively in order to get the best result for humanity and the planet. And the more people that hear this message and that want to be part of it, the quicker we can get to that really beautiful ascended reality where we're all living in love and harmony with our planet. So yeah, it's just so important right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think that this year, as I said before, is a year of the water. And I think water is really speaking up and hoping to be heard. And I think this is what is so important. We need to pay attention to water and not just see it as something we use to hydrate ourselves. There's a lot more to water than we know. And we're just scratching on the surface. We are really to understand water fully. I mean, there's still so much more to learn because we have been disconnected from the living water for such a long time. I mean, here, some of the indigenous people, for example, they would only drink the water from certain areas up from the mountains because they know that even lower down, the water is not as good as it is from higher up in mountains. So these people are very much in tune still with it, but we are, I think we have to be much more
connected.
Much more protective about the water as well, but also we have to rise up our knowledge about water and make the effort to reconnect as well. Okay, so and many people can do that by just going to the local water sources. If it is a stream, a spring, a lake, an ocean, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Just make the effort to go there and reconnect. Just sit. I mean, we all know this. Maybe go on holiday, right? So many people go to the beach and then they sit and just watch the waves and they get lost in this kind of motion, you know, with the water. And that's what I'm talking about. I think it's like that, that certain connection which we have with our spiritual body to connect to the water. And I think this is where the link is. This is where we know that we have deep down this really deep connection to water. And I think we just got so sidetracked that we kind of lost that a little bit. But I think
we get distracted with the Western world, with all the materialism, the consumerism, all the stuff that we have. I've had to get rid of a whole lot of stuff in order to go in the mobile home. And when you simplify, you feel lighter and you actually connect to the things that are more important.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like the water. And I just want to add that when I was down at a local beach from where I am right now, Sutton's Beach in Redcliffe, I saw three, they looked like Maori women, and they were all singing like prayers standing on the edge of the water, singing to the water. I thought, oh, that's great. That's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And there are still some indigenous groups around, like the Laguneros and some people who are descendants of the Iritillas and other groups as well, as we learned on our journey, who are from the indigenous community. And they are still having a lot of, if it is just a dance they have around the water, or they're singing or chanting to the water. And that is quite an incredible way of connecting to the water. And the shamans did the same and still do. When it comes to the pyramids, for example, many of the pyramids have courtyards in front of the structures, and these courtyards would be filled up with water, just a few inches, some a bit more than that. And the shamans would stand in the center of the water, and it's like a cymatic plate, right? So the frequencies of chanting would go into the water and would have like a ripple effect. And especially when they're in the center of these courtyards, these pyramid structures very often had staircases in all four directions. And when you stand in the center and you clap your hands, you can hear the echo from all four directions. And so their voice, the chanting of the when they're chanting to the water, this would kind of go all around and to the whole audience who would be there, and everybody would be kind of part of it. So, and their knowledge about these kind of things is incredible, and there's still some communities who know a lot about it. So tomorrow, for example, we're going, the next day, we are going to some of the most incredible sites around here, plus one which has never been shown to anybody. It's like a pyramid, and quite an incredible site, so I've been told energetically. So, and some of the indigenous people we hope to meet as well. So they're very protective about this kind of knowledge, but they're opening up more and more because they can see that it's really time for all of us to connect and to be part of it again. So, and we've forgotten, of course, so they have to teach us how to connect again. And the waters do that too. So the waters, soon as you have the right frequency to communicate with the water, it's like opening up like a whole different world. And this world really speaks to us as humans because we are made from water as well, right? So a huge part of us is water. Yes. And it resonates with us. And that's why we get so emotional when we go to a body of water, if it is a lake, an ocean, whatever it is. Yeah. We can feel on an emotional level that kind of connection. And that's the connection we need to definitely nurture. And we need to go deeper into it, to communicate.
Can I say too that I think the whole Tartarian civilization, that's a whole topic in itself. And, we've already been talking a long time, so we won't go in depth with that. But I just watched a whole video on that. And they had this incredible, because they were a much more advanced civilization than ours. And they had an incredible connection to water. They had the star forts and the canals. Let me just share a couple of interesting ones here. So this one is one of the slides from it. The world is a gigantic water grid. All the canals were built at the same time as the cities. When everything was ready, they were filled with water. All the canals were linked to the ocean's salty water. Salty water was a good conductor of electricity.
Absolutely.
Of course, they had the free energy there. And so, they had a knowledge of water that we have lost. And because it wasn't our fault, but they had these resets, I think, where they got rid of a lot of people on the planet, and everyone on the planet, in fact, so that we couldn't hold the knowledge. It was all erased.
Exactly.
Simultaneously. And
exactly.
Here is another one from that amazing video, which I'll leave a link below to the video because I think people should watch. It's a fantastic one. They said we had a highly advanced civilization, 100% powered by water ether. A body 70% water. Well, that's debatable. It's often more than that. People say, I think you say it's more than that, but there's also plasma in it. We are connected to ether through water. Water is liquid crystal. Water has memory. So, this knowledge the Tartarians had, and they used it to build these incredible cities and incredible things that have all been lost through, the controllers wanting to erase all that information.
Yeah. Absolutely, I totally agree. And water plasma is actually one of the main areas which I'm researching, and that's why I'm here in Bacala, because the water is thicker than any other water I've tested before. So we're talking almost like water plasma. And of course, coming from the background of my research and the production of AQUAN, which also is, of course, the plasma which we started to create and to stabilize, so that the plasma is being able to be exposed to oxygen without collapsing. So these things are very crucial for our, not just for our knowledge, but also for our healing. And water plasma has so much more potential than we know. It's not just, in my opinion, the med bed, which is really the med bed, and I think it has to do with water plasma, but also I think in terms of transportation or any kind of starships or whatever you want to call UFOs. So I think they are on top of it, and using these kind of technology, and water plasma is definitely the key for it. And I know it because you can accumulate a lot of energy from these blueprints which we're taking from the water, and these kind of sources have its own energy field, and these energy fields can be used as a GPS system, if you like. So that was kind of part of the knowledge, or part of the information which I've been given when I was in the desert, and it had to do with these kind of things. So I'm researching this myself at the minute because I don't want to put out false information, but I can tell you this: there's a lot more to water plasma than we know at this point, and it's the key to everything.
I think myself, just intuitively, I believe that we are in a sort of like a firmament type thing, and above that is like a water plasma, and that's why the stars sort of twinkle like it twinkles when you look at the underwater, how things twinkle. It's got the same effect. So actually, it's like a water plasma that we're surrounded by. It's like a firmament, or like a globe thing, and I think that's what we're living in anyway. And so that plasma is really, really important in that respect,
Yes.
and holding the memory, and also universal intelligence. And then on top of that, I wanted to just finish by mentioning AQUAN. So of course, AQUAN is an incredible product that you have been offering to people to really raise their frequency and to help them in their journey of ascension, and to help them and put it in water sources as well as another thing you can do with it. So the link below is, if anyone wants to order some more AQUAN, I've got the link below.
Now the new product is actually the blueprint. So that's what we're trying to do, is to collect all the blueprints, so people can order the kit to extract or to collect the water. Then they will ship the water samples off to us. It comes in a what's called a free postage kind of envelope, and so you send it back to us, and then we create the blueprint, and you have to pay for it, of course, because it's very time consuming. But what we do with that is not only that you can use that blueprint for your own spiritual work, so you can meditate with it, you can heal other waters if you have happen to have a very good healing water source where you are, then please do share these kind of information, the blueprint, with other waters which need help. So all the instructions will be on the website in I don't know exactly how many days until the data is ready to be received, but it's going to be a huge network of water ambassadors and people who are sending off the water samples, and then we sending back the blueprints. There are going to be 4 images which are connected to these waters, and each PDF file, or whatever, in whatever form we're going to send it out, has the information about the water. So we're going through each of the blueprints which are shipped in or sent over to us, and then we're going to share the information and explain with a little explanation about the water. Some water sources may need some help, some others may be in good form, in good shape. So we don't know yet. We will see when the first water samples arriving. But the aim is, as I said, to build a community, a water community, so that we are able not to raise the frequencies of all the waters and help the waters to heal each other, but also for us as humans to really help to protect those waters, because as a greater community, we're in a much better position to do something against pollution and such. So so that is not a product as such, but it is something which we're going to put out there in the next few days. So
Right,
it's going
right.
to, this is really, really, really important that so many people as possible take part in it, and hopefully that we can that way create a very strong community to protect the waters and really press for change.
we had some wonderful people join us for our first water workshop, and we've had a few people also ordering the video for that, which was a fantastic workshop with 2 amazing shaman. So I
Yes.
have all those people's information, and they're now water ambassadors, and they've received certificates as a water
Yes.
ambassador. So they're on my list. But if anyone else in the region around, Australia, New Zealand, or around this area, or the islands around here, the Pacific Islands, if you want to be a water ambassador, maybe contact me and I'll put you on that water ambassador list, and then I'll keep you posted on all the information. Would that be a good idea, Alex?
That would be amazing. Yes, we also be using some friends who their database who said, "Look, just use my database for it." So because it's such an incredible thing to do for this planet, so that we really all need to work together.
Yes.
So and we have put a special lab together for this, so that none of the water samples are contaminated. So we have very strict protocols so that nothing is influencing the water. What we're sending out are little tubes which you can use for collecting the water. We only need about 10 mil really per water source, and that is enough for us to accumulate or extract the blueprint of the water. So it's a very simple process. It's not complicated. It's very simple, very straightforward. And the funds which we are raising through this is actively put back into the research for new equipment, but also helps to support the communities which are protecting the waters already. So all the money will be really used in that way. So, and this is why we are so keen to get it done as quickly as possible, because some of the water sources which we are trying to protect are already quite under threat. So especially the lagoons which are near Mapimi, so the tortoises which are under threat as well. We just heard that there is a new piece of land which has been promised to a farming community, not a community, a farming company for cattle farming. And that means that they're moving closer to the lagoons, and that the water will be used for the cattle farms, and it will just destroy the lagoons literally within the next few years. So we really are having, it's not just, that's not the only place. I mean, there are just like hundreds and hundreds of places which really need some support. And if we don't do something right now, then these water sources will be really, really compromised, if not destroyed forever.
And I think the message that you're just giving there is echoed by the rooster behind you. Let me just share with you the meaning, who has been so vocal throughout this whole interview. Rooster, a spirit animal, teaches a person to use their voice for good. Roosters help to give confidence, candor, and bravery. They are high energy and hold a fiery spirit tied with immense passion, which is you're showing this passion for the water, and the roosters echoing you. Roosters also have an intense, enthusiastic nature that parallels their witty personality. So I thought that was really interesting. The rooster is trying to shout from the rooftops, this needs to happen. So
I know, and it hasn't stopped since the whole broadcast.
I know, it's been non-stop.
Kind of
I think we need to listen to that rooster. It's really telling us all to get on board here. So thank you so much. And I've got all goosebumps as I said that again. So that's a universal truth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're doing such incredible work, Alex. And
yes, thank you.
know that you are so dedicated. And, anything that I can do to support this mission and this goal, I would love to participate in every way that I can. And anyone who wants to be a water ambassador, please contact me, contact Alex. I'll put you on a list and we'll keep you posted on all the amazing things happening. You can order the kit and do what Alex has recommended, and let's change this planet for good. Thank you so much, Alex. So wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much, Medine, and thank you everybody for listening. And let's do this. Just let's try and get this. Let's get this done. So let's save the waters and bring the waters back into a pristine, to a pristine water, so that we all can heal the waters, but also we heal ourselves as well. So it's a really, really important thing to do. And I think it's time that we all work together as humans. So thank you all for listening.
Thank you. Absolutely. Lots of love. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone.